Have you ever felt like you're playing a guessing game with trying to match items in a Python list? Now, Python allows us to be able to do so many things with ease, like looping through a for loop. But when you loop through a for loop, by default, you only see the value, not the index of the item in a list. Now, that's where Python Enumerate comes in, and it allows you to be able to see the index along with the item itself. And in this video, we're gonna go over step by step on how you can use Enumerate in your Python application. All right, so let's go ahead and add Enumerate to our Python application. But before we add it, let's go over how we would do it without using Enumerate. So let's go ahead and say we have a fruits list, which has apple, banana, cherry, and orange. Right now, if we run through a loop and say for fruit in fruits, and we print the fruit, we are going to get a list printed in our terminal of apple, banana, cherry, and orange. Now, before there was Enumerate in Python and how you can do this in other programming languages is if we want to find the index of each fruit in our fruits, so apple is 0, banana is 1, 2, and 3, you would have to add a counter above. And then at the very end, we would want to say counter plus equals 1. And now we can include the counter in our print. So if we went ahead right now and ran this application, we can see that apple is 0, banana is 1, cherry is 2, and orange is 3. But this was something that Python developers needed to use all the time. It is very helpful to know the index when you're looping through each item. Now, because this was such a standard of creating these counters, Python included something called enumerate. So now instead of just saying counter here, we can go ahead and say enumerate fruits. Now when you run the application, we can see that our fruit is going to be a tuple of 0 as the index, apple, 1 banana, 2 cherry, 3 orange. And this all comes pre-built within Python. Now to be able to use this index, we can go ahead and add index in front. So we can say for index comma fruit inside enumerate of fruits. We can then go ahead and say print our index comma fruit. And now if we run the application, we can see that we're going to get exactly what we were getting with the counter before of 0 apple, 1 banana, 2 cherry, and 3 orange. Now, one powerful thing that is pretty cool with Enumerate is that we can start the default value of the index at a different number. So let's go ahead and say we don't want to necessarily say we want the index of apple to be 0. We can say we want the apple to be 1 and then from there increment from 1. And we can do this by just saying comma. So inside our enumerate where we're passing in our list, there is a start functionality where we can say start the enumerate at 1. And now when we run the application, we're going to see that each element is going to start at 1 and then go to 2, 3, 4. Now, this is so far how we can use enumerate for a list of items, but we can also use enumerate for each character within a string. So let's change this and say instead of fruits, we want our word to equal just simply hello. Well, we can say for index of our letter in enumerate our word, and we probably just want to start it at the index of 0. We can then go ahead and say print index of each letter. Now if we go ahead and run the application, we can see that each letter in the string is going to have a corresponding index that is attached to it. So H is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's not just about lists and strings and being able to use the characters inside. We can also go ahead and use tuples. So for example, we can say colors equals parentheses to make it a tuple, red, green, and blue. We can then go ahead and say for index color in enumerate colors. And then we can just go ahead and print the index in color. If we went ahead and run this application, we can see that we're going to get the exact same thing printed to our terminal of 0 red, 1 green, and 2 blue. And now a really cool trick that we can also do is we can modify lists based on the index location. And this is how we can use list comprehension along with enumerate. So let's go ahead and just erase everything here so we can see how we can use enumerate with list comprehension. And let's go ahead and create a new list of numbers equals 10, 20, 30, 40. And then let's go ahead and create a new variable and use list comprehension here. So we're going to create this variable named squared equals a new list of x, which is going to be the expression, times 2. If I modulus 2 equals 0, else x, for I, comma x in enumerate numbers, well, then we want to print the squared. And now if we go ahead and run the application, we can see that we get 100, 20, 90, and 40. And what we're really doing here is saying we want to multiply each element by itself, so squared to 2, based on each index that is even. So we can see that the first index, which is 0, we're considering that even. So it's going to be 10 times 10, which is 100. The second index, which is going to be 1, we will not be squaring. And then 30 times 30 is 900. And then 40. So we are only squaring each index that is even through the enumerate to find each index based on the even index. Now, if you're not sure how to use list comprehension, I will link the video right here. So you can go ahead and leave this video to learn list comprehension. All right, now another useful way of using enumerate is finding the index of a specific item. So let's go ahead and say for index, comma fruit, in enumerate, and we're just going to pass in our fruits from before. And to do this, we need to go ahead and re-add our fruits. So we can say fruits equals apple, banana, cherry, and orange. And I'm going to change all of these to single quotes. I'm more of a single quote kind of person when dealing with Python. And from here, we can say if fruit is equal to cherry, then we want to say print found cherry at index of our index. If we go ahead and run the application, we can see that we found the cherry at the index of 2, so 0, 1, 2. Now we can also go ahead and use enumerate on dictionaries. So if we go ahead and say person equals brackets, name is the key, Eric is the value, age is the key, 30 is value, and then city is the key, and New York is the value. We can then say for index key in enumerate person. So we can then print the index and key. If we go ahead and run this application, we can now see 0 is name, 1 is age, and 2 is city. So we are printing the keys. Now, with being able to print the keys, we can also print the items. So right here, we can leave this person exactly the same, and then say for index, and then inside here, we want to say parentheses, where we can say key, comma value, in enumerate person dot items. And now we can go ahead and say index key, comma value. And now if we run this application, we can see that for each index, we're going to get name Eric, age 30, and 2 city. All right, so enumerate is something that we're going to be using all the time in Python. So it is a necessity for you to be able to learn and being able to incorporate enumerate into your Python code. And I hope you found value in this video, and I will see you in the next.